Welcome aboard the Just Help Out Mindset podcast, where your compassionate guide, Nicole Venegas, takes the helm. Brace yourselves for an immersive experience as we delve into the heart of crucial conversations. We're set to explore the intricacies of suicide prevention, navigate the landscape of mental health, and boldly shatter the stigma surrounding therapy. This isn't just a podcast, it's an odyssey of resilience and understanding. Join us on this transformative journey filled with stories, insights, and a collective mission to create a world that embraces the strength of empathy and helping others. Fasten your seatbelts. We're about to embark on a voyage towards a healthier, more compassionate existence.
Welcome to Season 2 of the Just Help Out Mindset podcast, where we are breaking the stigma around mental health one episode at a time. This podcast was formed from our nonprofit, the Just Help Out Foundation, based in Tampa, Florida. It was created from the devastating loss of my only sibling, Joey, who died by suicide on May 3rd of 2022. The world lost a beautiful soul that day, and he has forever left a void in our hearts. The Just Help Out Foundation works tirelessly to combat suicide and help people understand that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but in fact, the opposite. It is a courageous and respectable act. Each guest on the show this season shares insightful experiences in their own personal lives and helps guide you in the journey we call life. Try to be in the present moment and clear your mind while we go on this adventure together. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Just Help Out Mindset podcast. Every episode, I think, is pretty amazing, but today's episode is the most amazing, I think. We have an extremely brave guest on the show today. Born and raised in Tampa, Florida, Christopher has become a staple in the LGBTQ plus community, in addition with the financial community as well. Combating with Florida's construct on the pressure that has been applied to the LGBTQ plus community, we are about to hear it from the source himself, and he's going to share with us his own story, his own struggles, and I am beyond grateful that you are here with us in the studio. Christopher Duchesne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor actually to be on your podcast. I really looked forward to this, and mentally I prepped myself for this. So yeah, I do appreciate this.
The LGBTQ plus community is a population that is shunned a lot and bullied and hated for absolutely no reason. And the mental health aspect of that, the point of this podcast is to break the stigma on mental health. And when we talk about this particular population and community, this is a very, very serious topic. And just in Tampa alone, we lost 2 or 3 in the last couple weeks to suicide.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Just
for this fact. And so before we get in even more detail for that, I want whatever you're comfortable with sharing. I think your story is going to be very important for people to hear because you were 11 years old. So at 11 years old, you were so strong and brave enough. Walk us through that. How did you even get the courage to tell your parents that you were gay?
It was interesting because I was in middle school, so I found myself in the locker room probably a little bit too long, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out what my brain was telling me, and what I was accepting as normal versus not normal. And at that time, I didn't really know, so I'd be made fun of when I was changing, and poked and prodded at, and there was different locker room dynamic when I was in with a certain group of people versus men, obviously a certain group of boys, than other people that were in there. So it didn't sit right with me. So, and then I kind of just um, distanced myself from just all the other kids because I was always made fun of,
What were they saying to you?
just you know, typical kid stuff. Pimple face, ginger. They called me ginger boy, redheaded. I can't say the words derogatory, but redheaded. And then I was made fun of for being a ginger at first, but then I isolated myself and I came across a small group of friends and we were all into the same thing. We kind of started gaming and we played digital games with each other and we'd meet with each other, on a weekly or bi-weekly basis just to hang out at each other's homes. And in the end term of us doing that, one of them actually came out to me and we connected and that's when I was like, I got to tell my mom because I don't know what to do with one of my friends telling me that he's also gay. So we had a interesting dynamic my friends did, and one day I just went to my mom and I was like, I think I'm gay, and she's like, don't tell your father. It's not, we don't want to discuss it with him, like let me break it to him. And I didn't really agree on what her wish was. I wanted to tell him myself because I wanted to see what it would be like. And
How was dad like at that point? Did you guys have a good close relationship or?
I mean, it was off and on. I mean, me and my dad, he didn't really agree on some of the things that I would do as a normal boy. He thought that I was unique in a sense of like I didn't do the typical sports. I wasn't interested in sports. I was interested in collecting things. I got into Pokemon at the time, so I was collecting Pokemon stuff. I was staying at home, and I wasn't really going out making friends. I was playing video games till like late hours of the night. So it wasn't what he was seeing. He was looking for himself and me, but he was not getting what he wanted.
Yeah.
So he kind of held me on the back burner because I also had a sister at the time. So she was getting a lot of the attention from both parents. So I did tell him, I wound up telling him, and their marriage was kind of already rocky on already. So I was probably the biggest excuse for him to validate him. And what my mom actually found out was that he was cheating on her with his secretary. So he wound up like leaving. And in my mind, I thought that it was all me, but she shared with me after allowing me to come back into her life that it was also him. Like he had a big role.
Yeah. So you come out to your parents, and then the next thing you know, they're divorcing.
Yeah.
So you're 11,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, this is my fault.
Yeah.
They're divorcing because I'm gay.
Yeah.
And you had to carry those feelings for how long?
I mean, I still kind of do. I still kind of carry them. I
Wow.
mean, it's tough because you don't. I mean, I know that it's probably now that I've probably matured. I know that like I can understand the dynamic and see my mom wasn't happy, and she didn't deserve any of the stuff that she got on that end. And so I wish I was at a maturity level where I could have supported her going through something like that a little bit better. But I was going through my own thing.
Well, you're 11. You're not supposed to support your mother
I know.
in her relationship issues.
I know. I know.
But you carry that burden, you carry that guilt. And it sounds like mom didn't really clarify that for you. So like ease your stress levels, and she kind of let you feel that that's why the relationship failed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shaming mom and dad because I would imagine, and how long ago was this?
Well, I'm 35.
Okay. So over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Of course, this community already was not that well known, and parents don't really know how to deal with it. And there's all these different struggles. Plus, he's going through his own thing. And now here's his son telling him this. How does he deal with it?
Right.
So I understand from their parents' side. So I can only hope parents listening to this now have learned to be more supportive of their children if they are coming out to you or they're talking to you about their sexuality or how they're identifying. There are so many suicides happening because the parents are not accepting the children when they come to them and say this. What is your opinion on that?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I had a best friend. She in high school, she decided to come out to her family as well. And her family was very unique, very indifferent with who I was. And they were a Spanish family, and they were also religious. And she wound up taking her life after she came out to her
Oh,
family. They shunned her, they kicked her out of the house. She was homeless. I begged my mom to take her in. We could not. My mom was a single mom raising two kids at that point. And it was so heartbreaking to see her go through that and then still go to school to learn. But there was just, the counselors just couldn't believe we didn't have an outlet. We didn't have, there's a lot of nonprofits nowadays that we can go to for support, but when we're that young, we don't know. Like, we don't
mm-mm.
know where to go and who to talk to. And our schools didn't have nonprofits come and speak to the school about, hey, there's a safe space for you
Mm.
if your home is not.
So your friend gets that courage to tell her parents, and they completely shun her and kick her out,
The house.
leading her to take her life.
Hmm.
And this happens over and over and over again. And even till today, even with the knowledge, and we try to kind of open up the media, kind of make it a little bit more familiar to people who aren't so familiar with the idea because it's not what we're raised to know or to accept, which is the religion portion I just kind of wanted to touch on with you. Are you religious?
I am not.
And of course, you're not religious because there's no religion that is accepting
Mm.
of this lifestyle. So when you want to go to church or you want to have that relationship, what happens?
I mean, you kind of get isolated. I mean, people move away from you when they find out. It's not a norm. So if it's not norm for them and that will fit within their religious guidelines, they don't really accept it. So, and then you kind of get burnt out because you're trying to win them over being who you are, and you can't even do that because there's just too much of a hurdle there to overcome. So yeah, that's why I think a lot of LGBT plus or Q plus community kind of built up on itself because of that main reason.
Yeah. So you can't be yourself.
No, not at all.
You're being shunned. So these are people who are religious and they're supposed to be loving everyone, right? That's in every religion across the board. I've researched all of them. All of them are be a good person, love everybody, treat everyone great, unless they're part of the LGBTQ plus community.
Mhm.
I don't remember reading that. That part of religion really does not sit well with me.
Mhm.
I know plenty of people in the community, and they're phenomenal people. Phenomenal people. Why are we shunning? Why are we bullying? Why are we being mean? Tell me more about when you were starting to feel things. There's that argument. Are you born like this, or do you gain that from like environmental factors as you grow? What are your thoughts?
So you are born with it.
Mm.
I think that it's scientific fact, and I'm not a scientist in any means, so don't think that I am. But I think that it's a gene that the mother passes on to the child that develops. So I just that's my mindset with it. I don't think that I'd ever choose to like the opposite sex because it's a lot tougher, and as you know, probably as a woman, it's a lot tougher to um, I guess understand a man's mind,
Mm-hmm.
his thought process, the things that he does. So even though I am a man, I still have a different mindset, like because I was raised mostly by my mom, but um, I still have a different mindset from, a straight man because the backgrounds there is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, or a heterosexual man, I probably should have said, but yeah, so that's why I think.
Tell me about the community in Tampa Bay specifically, because that's where we are, and we could take that as a small sample of the community. Of course, it reaches far and wide throughout the world, but here in Tampa alone, what do you see? You feel, is there bullying? Are you guys targeted? Like, tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I will say that we lack a lot of support. I've noticed that a lot. Like you had mentioned, I was born and raised here. A lot of our community it's kind of fallen apart in essence because we've lost a lot of our clubs, our gay clubs, which unfortunately I have to mention that because our gay clubs were our way of releasing energy and having a safe space. And I think a lot of that came with what happened at Pulse, right, in Orlando. And so, and I will say that we don't really have a safe space that you can go and speak to someone about. I mean, we have different nonprofits that are in Tampa, but there isn't really a one big family feel to it. We're just kind of left in tandem, floating about.
What happened to the clubs in Tampa? They closed?
Hmm. Yeah, there's only two now that are accepting of LGBT plus community.
And when you go out to those clubs, do you feel safe?
Mm-mm. No, I still don't, and I think that's because it stems from what happened at Pulse. Like you're still looking over your shoulder, you're screening people's hands to make sure that there's cups in their hands and
Mm,
glasses and not
a
guns.
gun.
Yeah,
You can't even go out and enjoy yourself.
yeah,
You're just always on like
alert.
heightened alert.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that it's so weird because when I moved over to Ybor area,
Hmm.
thinking that it was like because it's more LGBT plus friendly.
Hmm.
I was walking on Riverwalk, and me and my husband now at the time, we weren't married at that time, but we had a rock thrown at us from a bridge. It almost took me out. I'm not gonna lie, it almost took me out, and I couldn't catch the group of people that threw it at me to know who it was. But that was in like 2019, 2020. So I was still like you don't know
Wow.
the area, like you're still kind of, and I was just holding hands, like we weren't doing anything else.
Yeah. So you're holding hands with your husband, walking along, and just someone throws a rock at you
Yeah,
for no reason.
no reason.
You can't even walk. So tell me your perfect world.
I mean, I would love to paint that picture. I feel like with how individuals they just prejudge.
Mhm.
I don't really. I allow them to show who they really are before I don't. I mean, I really don't ever place judgment on individuals, but I allow them to really be themselves before I'm accepting, I guess, and
Mhm.
that's because of the trust there with the process. So to see us be more open and relaxed with we're not it's not your life that I live, so I live my own life.
Exactly.
And even though we live in the same world and we share the same world, we all have our own different struggles, but we don't necessarily have to take it out on one another. We can still be friends, close. I still want to understand your dynamic and who you are as a human being. I mean, just because societal norms have been placed on a world like before time,
Mhm.
why do we have to be all wrapped up in that? Like, can't we just be, energy and just like absorb each other's energy and be a part of that space together? I just feel like it's gotten so out of hand. Like,
It's out of control. And I'll have to have like a preacher come on and talk to me about the religion portion, because I'm pretty sure in the Bible there are gay moments in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for someone to explain that to me, and how that was in there at the beginning of time. And I want to also know why people are so mean. They're just so judgmental, and they're so mean. How often are you hiding who you really are, or changing what you want to say to appease somebody else?
Always.
How often, like, give me on a given day, how many times are you?
Within the first like 10 seconds of meeting someone, I have already screened them to know if I am able to present who I really am to them. Like the group, that we're in a group, adjacently to this podcast, and no one knew except for you, Madeline, and Zeke. And they only knew because I was looking for a house with my husband. So, and it's interesting because 2 years back, I, joined in my career path, I joined a small community bank, and I didn't tell anyone. And then I told my husband, I can't keep going on without letting people know who I am. So this time around, because before that I worked for another bank, a larger bank, and I didn't tell anyone. And I was like, this time I'm going to be a little open about it, but not too open. So I was open about it. One of my colleagues asked me, who cooks at home, what is he making? It was lasagna at the time. It smelled good. It like went through the whole, area where I worked. So she had to ask, and she took that knowledge or information and took it to the manager there, and it was on the rocks ever since. And then I actually had to leave because he put so much pressure on me for being a homosexual. Like he was like, you can't talk about your life here at work. It's different from, their conversations with their husbands. So you can't, it makes people uncomfortable. You can't talk about who cooks you dinner. You can't talk about what you guys do after work. I don't want to hear it in here.
Oh my goodness.
And then it was even interesting because even with the pressure, we did so well. We were going to go out to dinner at a local restaurant called Burns. I don't know if you've ever been.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Of course. It's the best.
And he told me flat out, I can't bring my husband with me. And I was like, well, I won't go. Like, I'm not going to go and celebrate a win if I can't bring my significant other with me. Like everyone else is bringing theirs. Why is it appropriate for you to tell me I can't bring mine?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I wasn't with that company very long. I left that company, but I struggled with that. So,
of course you did. You constantly just felt like you could never be yourself. And you always had to be careful what you said. And this guy is standing over you with this pressure. Shame on him. Not shaming your mom and dad. I will shame that guy.
Yeah, I lost sleep. There's moments in the middle of the night that I would wake up screaming because mentally it was so much on me. Like, and I was like, this is my livelihood. This is how I get paid. Like, how can I continue to do this mentally and go to this work environment knowing it's always going to be hostile, and this guy doesn't like who I am.
100%. And when people die by suicide, I believe it is from a lot of contributing factors. I don't believe it's just one specific reason.
Right.
But in this situation, if you're going to check the boxes on risk assessment and you're going to say, okay, now you're stressed out about work, you can't be yourself, you can't talk about your husband, now this is affecting your finances, you're now feeling depressed, your anxiety levels are up, you can't sleep. All of these boxes. Perfect storm. So were you having suicidal thoughts?
Oh, 10 out of 10 was. I'll tell you that it got to the point where my brain was foggy. Like I couldn't really see the next day. It was so odd to be in that environment. Like, my husband was always happy and joyous, and I kind of took a toll on him, and I feel bad. I still kind of a little bit guilty of going through that, because there would be times where I'd just grab onto him and just say, I'm gonna get through this. Like, I know you don't like seeing it this, but I'm gonna get through this. So just know that I'm here. And mentally, like, it was stressful. It was, my heart breaks. It was stressful for me. It was tough.
Yeah. Extremely, extremely tough. I'm so proud of you for getting
Thank
through.
you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And thanks to your husband.
Right.
I love him for being supportive of you in those moments. Is extremely hard. And the fact that you have to face these moments in this particular life, I don't know why you were chosen to have this challenge. And who would choose? That's the other argument when people say, oh, people are just pretending to be like this. Who would want to be bullied and shunned and made fun of and outcasted? Who would choose that in society?
No
I
one.
am going to go with nobody.
Right. No one.
Nobody. And why do you think everyone hides their truth? Because society has become so mean.
Mm.
I'm so proud of you for coming on this show.
Thank you.
You're the sweetest person ever.
Oh, I appreciate
it. Ever. So, we're gonna have another show on people judging people.
Yes, I would love that. I'll be on that one too.
Okay. I want to talk about suicide statistics amongst the community because these are very high. When you compare the general population to this community, what are you seeing statistic-wise?
I mean, I'm no expert, but I did look this all up. I will tell you that 41% contemplated taking their life in 2023 of LGBTQ plus community. So 41%. And then to top that all off, in 2022, it looks like we were the highest community to take our lives versus the general population.
Yes.
So it was big. It was a big impact for me. It was an eye opener because my Facebook thread, I mean, I wouldn't go a month without someone taking their life. And it's heartbreaking because you just see the posts, you see the signs, and then like you go on their Facebook and they go quiet for months. And people even mention on the post after they, the update, or, the rest in peace post comes months after. And then people even say, I reached out to him through Messenger. He never responded. Like it was already set in stone when they decided to take their lives. So and for me to see that on my Facebook thread, my heart breaks every single time.
My heart also breaks every single time. Every single time another person takes their life. The LGBTQ youth is a huge concern. That they're really like 45% are taking their life. 82% want mental health care. Like 85% are struggling with anxiety. The statistics are outrageous. And you can also find statistics on thetrevorproject.org. Thetrevorproject.org. They really share a lot of statistics that can help you understand the struggles of this community. How do we stop it? How do we reduce these numbers? They're just, one is too high. One person is too much. How do we stop it in this community?
So, I mean, to start, we can just have like an ally. Like it's so hard to find allies that, support us in different ways. We need allies to create safer spaces, by educating themselves, listening without judgment, and advocating for us and our rights. Mental health professionals can, undergo LGBTQ plus cultural competence training as well, using inclusive language, and be aware of the unique challenges faced with, LGBTQ plus individuals. Building trust and fostering open communication can contribute to a very supportive environment. You'd be surprised.
So more support from the community and peer support. And I believe you're going to start maybe a support group and your own podcast.
I am. Yes, I am. I appreciate you for bringing that up. I want to start a podcast just because we need a source for everyone to start to go to vent. I want it to be about life, and I want it to be about individuals and LGBTQ plus community, and the struggles, and how they process it. It's going to be called Dust to Diamonds.
Hold on.
Oh,
Dust to Diamonds. I love it.
From Dust to Diamonds.
From Dust to Diamonds. Oh my gosh.
LGBT plus community podcast.
Wow.
And so it's going to be with you and me, and everything in between is kind of like the little tagline. So yeah.
Oh gosh, Christopher, that is so fabulous. You are such a light in this world. And I am so happy you're here. When people are getting into that dark place that you've been, you had the suicidal thoughts, you didn't want to be here anymore. What is your advice?
Take it day by day. But a saying that I say is that it's right now, it's not forever. And that is something that just is ingrained in my brain, that it may be right now it's tough, but it's not forever. And that, day by day, you're going to experience other things that are going to be hurdles. And that you just have to analyze that it's not always you, it could be the other individual. And then you also have to lay the groundwork of, what are they going through? Like, have an open mindset of like, what are they going through that's causing you to feel this way? It's not always me. So, be open to maybe it's them, and then ask them what's going on. Like maybe ask them what's going on with them for them to be like that.
Yes. And as your mental health professional, reach out for help. Tell somebody.
Yes.
You don't have to call 988 or whatever. Tell someone that you trust. Just say, hey, I'm having these thoughts. I'm not feeling that good.
Yeah.
Just talk it out.
Yeah.
Get it out. Oh, Christopher, what an amazing show. For everyone in the LGBTQ plus community, I want you to know that you are loved. People do care. And the next time anyone else is judging that community, I beg you and ask you to just be nice. Practice being nice to other human beings. It's really not that hard. Christopher, how can people find you if they want to reach out and
so if they would love to reach out, dusteddiamondspodcast@gmail.com is going to be the Gmail that you can reach out if you want to vocalize your thoughts, opinions, maybe some questions on what I should lead with on my new podcast that's going to be starting. And then, they can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Facebook's going to be my name. So Christopher, last name is Duchesne, Duchesne. And then my Instagram is aesthetically me with a 3 at the end of it.
I love that. And it's Dust to Diamonds. Is it DUSTTO Diamonds?
So the Gmail is dustdiamonds.
Oh, Dust Diamonds.
At gmail.com.
Perfect. Dustdiamonds@gmail.com. You heard it here first.
Right.
Dust to Diamonds. Woo!
I appreciate you having me on this. I mean, it's definitely a great opportunity. I mean, just help out. I haven't really had opportunity to be present in it, but I would love that opportunity and just to be there and to hear, and be a part of it. And I feel like you're on your own path. I mean, you're your own light in this, and I don't think a lot of people give you gratitude, but you deserve it. And you're an amazing individual as well.
You're so sweet. The Just Help Out Foundation is in full support of the LGBTQ plus community. And we did just open our applications for the mental health program, but we are going to open them again up in 4 more months. And I encourage, when that comes out, for everyone to apply that is looking for mental health assistance. We are here for you. Christopher, thank you so much. You are truly, truly amazing. And thank you to our listeners for listening to our episode at the Just Help Out Mindset podcast, where we are breaking the stigma surrounding mental health one episode at a time. Please tune in next week for another episode of the Just Help Out Mindset podcast.